So what screamed out the most to me was the lack of boundaries the mother had towards her daughter. There is no reason that is justifiable why she should take her daughter's clothes without even asking if she wanted to donate anything. Even the deflection at the end, when she expressed her unhappiness, was not okay. So she wasn't even she even asked previously for her to stop taking her clothes without even asking. And then not respecting the things she treasured. For instance, that wrestling t-shirt. Even though she may not care about wrestling, her daughter does, and that needs to be respected. That's her property, and that's things that she treasured. I completely disagree with the mother's actions in this post. Hey YouTube, you made your way back to Mind Your Mind with Jess Justified. So you saw the thumbnail. Let's get right into it. So I don't know if a lot of you know about the Reddit columns, but they're in the Reddit columns. They have something called Am I the A-hole? Right? And they have some really interesting posts that can really serve for introspection and dissection, like a little case study kind of thing, if you're into how the mind works. So I came across this story, and it features a 21-year-old female who asks if she's wrong for telling her mom that she can't trust her. Here's the post. This is what she wrote. Early today, I had an argument with my mom, which led to me telling her I couldn't trust her, which she called rude and overreaction. So let's see what the rude and overreaction is. All right. So she continues, for years, my mom has had this bad habit of secretly donating our clothes without telling us. Sometimes it was stuff she thought was too small for us, but most of the time, it was just clothes she didn't like or didn't want us to wear anymore. She's 21. Let's continue. For example, I really liked professional wrestling and have received many t-shirts of my favorite wrestlers as gifts over the years. Yet the only one I still have is from this past November. My mom doesn't understand why I like wrestling, probably because I'm a girl. And even when I try to ask where my merch has gone, she's always shooed me off. So the donation bag would always be in her closet. So if I noticed I was missing an item of clothing, odds are it would be in the donation bag. Since as early as middle school, when I started noticing that she would take my clothes, I always asked her to please check with me before donating any of my clothes. Of course, she didn't and continued picking things out of the laundry or even going as far as going into my drawers and closets to take things. A few months ago, I found a really nice dress of mine that I bought in the donation bag, and I blew up, screaming and begging her to I blew up screaming and begging her to ask me anytime she would donate my clothes. So it seemed to get to her as she stopped taking things until earlier today. In the car with her today, I looked in the back seat and noticed the donation bag. Right? But peeking out was the arm of a sweater I had literally bought last week. I grabbed the bag and noticed my last remaining wrestling t-shirt, about 5 pairs of my socks, and even some bowls and plates I had bought for my apartment next year. We began arguing, with her not giving me a clear reason why those were in the donation bag. And I told her that because she went back on her word, I couldn't trust her anymore. I think it was a valid reaction, but she disagrees. Thoughts? So, you heard. Definitely, here's my reaction. Here's my feedback. So, what screamed out the most to me was the lack of boundaries the mother had towards her daughter. Right? The daughter is 21, and she also stated that she will give away clothes that she even bought herself. So it's not even the mother purchasing the clothes. It's the daughter, the 21-year-old, purchasing these clothes for herself. Yet her mother felt entitled enough to go into even her room and take things and put it in the donation bag. There is no reason that is justifiable why she should take her daughter's clothes without even asking if she wanted to donate anything. Even the deflection at the end, when she expressed her unhappiness, was not okay. She's looking at how she reacted rather than that she felt so entitled to her daughter's belongings and just gave it away, and her daughter being upset about that. So she wasn't even she even asked previously for her to stop taking her clothes without even asking. And then not respecting the things she treasured. For instance, that wrestling t-shirt. Even though she may not care about wrestling, her daughter does, and that needs to be respected. That's her property, and that's things that she treasured. I completely disagree with the mother's actions in this post. So I do have a clip from Dr. Shantae about setting boundaries with parents, because I know sometimes it's hard for parents to let go with that level of control and more so that they may have had as a parent, which I still say you got to think about that as well, and that hard need of that level of control where it's passing boundaries that you would not even want done to you if it was in reverse. So here is a video from Dr. Shantae.
Unpopular opinion, but sometimes you have to set boundaries even with your own parents in order to protect your mental health and preserve your peace. There is this really popular idea trope out there that because your parents gave you life and because your parents raised you, that you have this unconditional debt that you owe them in perpetuity, meaning that they have a blank check to say and do whatever, and you have to take it and you have to tolerate it and you have to endure because they gave you life. But here's the thing, when you take parenting out of it, like if you just set that title aside for a second, what you have is a human being who had a life and a history long before they became a parent. And that history might include unhealed traumas, it might include abuse, it might include things that they're ashamed of. And what parenting does is it becomes a mirror for all the things that you have not dealt with, and it becomes a trigger for all the things that you have not dealt with. And if you have not dealt with those things in an effective way, in a healthy way, and healed from those things, then the toxins from that can pollute the parent child dynamic even well into adulthood. And so, no, your parents don't have a blank check to say and do whatever if it creates an abusive and toxic dynamic. It is okay to set boundaries, even with your own parents, in order to protect and preserve your mental health and wellness.
Yep. So, and I agree with her wholeheartedly. Boundaries are important when it comes to preserving your mental health and wellness, as she just said. Sometimes parents may think that because it's their child, they have like a lifelong that they kind of the children owe their lives to their parents for the rest of their lives. And that is without question, without their own opinion, without, as they even grow into adulthood, where they're not recognizing that you set that foundation as a parent, and then you watch your child from the foundation you set move along with that. You cannot expect that control over your child to that level, especially as they go into adulthood. Parents are or not, boundaries are necessary and they need to be respected, because other than the parent-child relationship, there is humanity. And parenthood does not give you the right for mistreatment. Because just as when I always say, sometimes reverse the situation. I'm sure the mother will not be okay with anyone going into her room and taking her things without her permission. So sometimes you have to have that level of empathy where you're thinking about, I wouldn't want this done to me. Why am I doing it that to them? So we have to kind of consider that when we're thinking about the parent and adult child relationship and just interactions with other people. Boundaries are important. And I thought that was the biggest thing that screamed out of this Am I the A-hole column post. All right, I do have a mindful moment question. All right, so the mindful moment question is, do you think that the daughter was justified with being upset with her mother? What do you think? I want to hear from you in the comment section below. Do you think the daughter was justified with being upset with her mother? All right, I want to hear from you. Until next time, it has been real. Mind your mind.